What is power? It is freedom, the freedom to act, to choose, to build, to create, without constraints, without orders from anyone else. But how do you get it? It is in yourself. You have to find it in your own body. Hi, I'm Lena, and welcome to another episode of WeMEN, where I explore finding truth, balance, and grace for all the lovely ladies out there. If you're young or feeling lost in this big life, I gotcha. Remember to follow and activate the notification bell to never miss a new episode, like this one, where we'll explore the power of women. Happy International Women's Day. I'm not really sure what this day is for, but for me it is a good reason to talk about the fundamental power that we have as women. If you're watching on YouTube, I decided to change things a little bit and will now take you on a walk tour in Princeton while I talk about the power of women. It is true that men and women are different, and in their very biology lies the seed for their uplifting or their downfall. If we talk about men, they have power through testosterone mostly. It gives them strength, it gives them energy to chase and get what they want. And it all really sums up in two characteristics. The fact that their nature is really linear. Biologically, they are constantly and for their entire life producing testosterone, which translates in their behaviors as always going for more, always looking for improvement, and it brings some consistency into their actions, that it's always a straight line that is looking to go up at least. But the downside of this is that it is harder for them to pause, to reflect, to rethink the trajectory, and it is also harder to shift the mentality that they may be in, especially in they are in a vicious circle or in a responsive behavior to traumatic events, for example. It is hard for them to reflect and be reborn again. The second characteristic that comes from their biology is being logical. Since they are going forward, they are taking actions that require quick decision, so they are more likely to consider facts and objective factors, and therefore to be also less easily controlled in their actions, in their behaviors, and their thoughts. But the downside to it is that in many cases they are less in touch with their own body, their own awareness of their influence on themselves and on others. They are less easily making the link between their mind and body, and it is harder for them to access higher frequencies and higher power, because one downside is to be very material, very factual, and not consider things that are out of our understanding, but that nonetheless are true. You see that our biology gives us powerful tools that can also be our doom if they are not handled properly. As one great philosopher said, with great power comes great responsibility. That means that if you don't take your responsibilities seriously and the power that you are given in your own biology, they will crush you down. This is why I mentioned that there is a positive and a downside, a negative in those characteristics for men. And so it goes for women. Our power or our downfall comes from two very distinctive characteristics that are specific to women, which are cycles and feelings. They are there. And you have no choice but to deal with them, meaning that if you don't, they will override you, they will control you, and they will crush you. But if you take your responsibilities, if you decide to take control over these and to use them at your advantage, there lies the power. So choose the power. Choose responsibility. Firstly, let's look at cycles. Our hormones work quite differently from men. We have estrogen that builds up to produce life, to ovulation that is the egg, the seed of life. Then it drops and leaves the space for progesterone, which rises to nurture the creation, to nurture life. See, your menstrual cycles are very well done since you have the whole first part of it that is consistent in building up to creating this egg, this seed of life, which at some point shows up in the word or in your belly in that circumstance. And then progesterone takes over in order to create an environment for this seed to grow and to become a flower, to become life, complex life in the case of humans. Then it also drops. And when it drops, it is the destruction of what has been built. You have blood, your uterus linings are shredding because the egg has not been fertilized and has died itself. And therefore, everything crashes and everything goes out and goes away. If you think about it, it's very much like seasons. There is birth, spring, everything comes out, then flourish during summer, then slowly dies during fall in order to recover during winter. Winter is actually a very important part of cycles and of the ability for nature to grow and rebuild, because it is the balance between being always in action and taking time to pause and recover. This is lacking in men, but it is the very nature of women to be cyclic. It means there is constant change and rebirth in nature, in the world, in the creation. It is an ever-going balance between creation and destruction. It is truly the beauty of life. The weakness of being cyclic is that first, for women, it is actually physically painful. The destruction is felt in their body in various forms of pain, which can go as extreme as endometriosis. For that reason, and very fairly, it is seen not only by women, but by everyone, frankly, as a burden to have periods and bleedings every month. It is a very strong physical, material representation of pain to experience the bleeding of your own body every month. Not only that, but cycles also mean instability. You can really see that women's mood depends on their hormones and on the phase of the cycle they are in. Not only it is ever changing, but it also means it's never settled. Like nature, like earth, like animals, everything is a constant change. And it is hard to grasp, not only for women themselves, but for men around them. It is hard to reconcile with the very linear nature of men. However, it also means that women are just as cyclic as the entire world. We have this nature of being synchronized, being in harmony with the entire world. Nature works like this, in cycles, and we work in cycles too. We are by nature connected with nature, with the world, with the universe. That's why women are better at connecting with others and at being more sensitive to others, to their environment, to nature in general, and beyond. This is another strength of cycles and being cyclic, that the connection goes beyond the physical. When you connect with the creation, it allows you to understand deeper layers of this creation. Those layers are within you. You can more easily understand the different frequencies around you. Raise your frequencies, raise your energy, and get in touch with higher power, higher energy, divine energy, with God, which gives you more power in your physical life, in this body. The second distinctive characteristic of women is feelings, strong feelings, because obviously every human and even every animal has feelings. But there is something special about the cycles and the connection that it gives to women that probably makes us more aware of our own existence, our own body, and therefore the connection of the body and mind and the expansion of our mind. This is why women are known to have the gift of empathy, to be more sensitive to their own self and to others. One very big downside of it is that it is very much easier to fall into low vibration, negative feelings of fear and shame for anyone. And so, since women are more sensitive, these feelings lead them to be very self-conscious, often people-pleaser, and wanting to be liked and admired at all costs. That's why, especially with the rise of social media, we've seen so many women exposing themselves, exposing their bodies, because they know that it gets the attention of everyone, including women, and they lose self-respect to gain attention, to gain likes. That also mean that we are more susceptible to be affected by our environment and to lose control of ourselves, of our feelings. What I mean is, for example, traumatic events and other external factors or events that can happen will very much dictate our feelings and therefore our behaviors. And we are more likely to be stuck in fearful behaviors because of the feelings that have been caused by certain events. This also makes us more easily victims of manipulation, propaganda, persuasion, because it plays on how it makes us feel. It plays on fear mostly, the fear of being rejected by the community if you don't agree, the fear of losing connection with someone else, even with yourself, the fear of losing the attention that we so much crave for. Not only fear, but compassion. A lot of arguments are made based on empathy and compassion, that because someone else is suffering, their point is valid. It is a way to persuade that works a lot better with women because they want to connect. They understand the feelings deeply and they want those feelings to be positive. But you see, in everything, you need a balance between positive and negative, like electricity. You cannot be always looking for the positive, thinking that the outcome will be positive. Thinking in terms of feelings is also dangerous because it usually means unstable values and identities that can shift depending on the mood, on the moment, on the present interests and circumstances at hand. And it makes women less trustable, less committed when they are too focused on how they feel instead of taking action because factually, objectively, it is the right action to take, which is what men are good at. But you see, the point is that the same thing can turn into strength. Feelings can also help women to shift identities for the better, to not be stuck in the wrong ideas, in the wrong persona, in the wrong behaviors, to rethink the way you act, the way you behave. Usually you do that by learning to control the feelings with your thoughts, with more objectivity about what is the best outcome, what is the best action to take. With this thought, you can insert a certain feelings. This is what's interesting with the feelings, is that once you realize that feelings are mostly controlled by your thoughts, you become quite powerful. Instead of simply reacting to what's happening and having those strong feelings dictate what you're going to do, like an animal, you can think about the situation for a minute and realize that it is not the stressful situation you think it is at first. It is not the shameful position you think you are at first. It is just what it is, and it's just people acting, and you don't need to necessarily react to what they're doing the way they want you to. Thoughts are a very strong tool to control the feelings, and if you get the feelings of peace, the feelings of confidence, of love, of kindness, of courage, more importantly, you become truly powerful. And the last thing that is quite a big strength for women when we talk about feelings is that we can easily access them. They are important for two things. The first is that they are at the heart of creation, of visualization, of building a project and making it true. Because just like it is said about prayers in the Bible, you shall pray as if you have already received. And the key here is that you feel that you have received the gift. Not just imagine the pictures and the sounds, but it's the feeling that makes everything comes together for you when you plan your future, your projects, your dream life. And it is quite powerful to change your entire self, your entire identity, to be able to access these feelings now, to project them on the specific goal you want to accomplish, the true prayer that will come true. There is no greater power. The second reason it is important to access your feelings so easily is that it is linked to intuition. Women are also known to be intuitive, meaning feeling others, feeling their intentions, feeling the vibrations, the energy that is good or bad. For everyone, our body acts as a receiver of energies, of different vibrations that can be very low, meaning holding very negative consequences, destructive consequences, or very high, up to the divine, bearing positive, peaceful, powerful consequences. And this ability to access our feelings gives us a quite powerful tool to distinguish between frequencies, between people, between what's good or not, without logic, because a lot of the things that are going on in our world cannot be explained by material thinking and facts, because a lot of it is higher frequencies that we cannot even understand, but that we can feel, because they are part of us. And women are good at that. The only danger is that one must learn to distinguish between what are true signals of the intuition and our own projections based on fears, our own shameful feelings and low vibration feelings, which is why there's a need to work on ourselves, work on our own healing, work on controlling our thoughts to control the feelings, and to access only pure experiences that are not biased by dramatic events or low energy. You see, you have the power in you. Your own biology gives you tools that, if you choose to use properly, to learn how to use them, will bring you so much power over your own life. But if you choose to disregard that, these tools will nonetheless be here and influence you without your own accord, without your control, and are more likely to crush you down. Therefore, you don't really have a choice but to step in and take your responsibilities, because you're born with the body you're given. You're born with strength and weaknesses, and as you can see, everything is two-faced. It can either become an ally and a powerful tool, or an enemy, which will be your doom. With that being said, happy March the 8th to all my fellow women. I wish you to take your power back.
Remember, there's enough space for all the stars to shine.